Midnight Gaming Podcast members. Of course, this is the Midnight Gaming Podcast. Jin has befallen to sickness, so Eddie has now taken the reins, and now, yay, optimism, crap, blarg. Joining me today is Minion Bulbazac.
Eddie, I'm the one who's supposed to be power hungry, remember?
Yes, but hence why you're going to have to go through me to get to the top. And
that's okay. I shop from the same place that Cloud does for his swords. Got a really big knife.
And joining me today as well is guest and potential, if we can keep her around, Miss Felicity Ryan or Markey? I don't know which one to call you, ma'am.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I'll just call you Markey. That's why I see you through on here on the Skype. Okay, so
okay, if you had scared me off in the first 5 minutes, I would have been shocked because it takes a lot to scare me off. To be honest.
I will admit, I was sorry.
Oh, okay. Minus the one guy at my job who came in and I was ducked down because I work at GameStop. Ducked down, not paying attention. And my boss goes, "Hey, can you come look this game up for this kid?" And he had lost a Pokemon game because someone had stolen it and traded it in. And all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I totally won 2 championships with that game. I really need it back." You know, because I'm totally a championship Pokemon player. And I'm like, if this is your version of hitting on me, you can stop now, thanks. That terrified me.
Oh, people coming in hitting on the girls who work at GameStop. I won't do that, and Jen, of course, is laughing because I'm pretty sure he...
Wait a minute, Jen can laugh?
He's doing the texting. Anyway, let's get this party started. The new Tomb Raider trailer, described by some as torture porn. The spokeswoman for the game, angry at viewers for having their heads in the gutter, angry at the makers of the trailer for taking the scene out of context. If this is torture porn, this has got to be the most tame version of torture porn I have ever seen.
Here's the deal. The people who say this is torture porn stopped watching about 20 seconds to 30 seconds into the trailer. Although I will admit it probably doesn't help that at the very beginning it has a boom, boom going at the entire time.
See,
doesn't help it much.
Yeah, my thing with it is that, okay, if you're watching the first 20, 30 seconds of it, okay, yeah, she's tied up, she falls down, she gets stuff stuck in her sides, rips it out, throws it around. Okay, but the rest of it is your general Lara Croft game that you've seen in the past, minus she actually has a little more clothing on, which, being a girl, makes me kind of excited. But it still stays true to that thing, and this spokeswoman obviously has never seen the reaction to any other Lara Croft game, because everyone is like, "Oh god, it's Lara Croft, I wonder if they're going to make a porn out of it." That's immediately everyone's thought seeing that character. If she hasn't seen that reaction before, she's been living in some dark hole.
And most people will probably be playing this game one-handed because of all the moans and the groans and things like that that happen in this daggone trailer. Anything else to say on this? Okay.
Other than I like to call it, Lara Croft Internal Bleeding Edition, because as many times as she falls down cliffs and somehow stands up and walks away, she's probably going to die of internal bleeding eventually, sometime soon. But I'm still going to play it. I'll play the crap out of that game.
Then again, you don't apply such logic to video games, or else how are we going to explain to all the viewers out there, the people who've played any of the Assassin's Creed games, that jumping off a really tall building into a bale of hay will not save your life?
There's like 40 mattresses hidden in there. You just don't know what you're talking about. Don't worry about it.
Bullcrap logic. I love it.
You just don't realize that there's a bottomless pit that has been filled somehow with mattresses below each of those, hay bales. It's okay.
It's like a portal gun.
Exactly.
It teleports him like it's an endless loop until he decides to climb out. Now, Jin, now you're getting on there, but this is just golden. Anyway, let's move on. Hotline Miami dev hits the Pirate Bay to help people who are having trouble running pirated versions of this game. Says he wants to reflect well on his studio. Also said that he knows what it's like to be broke. Me speechless right now.
I'm trying to. Okay, I'm not in all the same gaming circles as some of you guys are, so I probably don't know who this guy is or where he's from. I'm going Hotline Miami. Okay, no clue. All I know is the general whatnot. Jen, can we talk about what game we're actually talking about here?
While he's typing that out there, all I can say is, even though I don't know much about it either, is that the fact that he's helping people who have pirated the game kind of wants me to give him a round of applause, because there are people that are broke, are unemployed. What are they going to do? They're going to sit around at home and play video games. If they think it's amazing, they're going to tell other people to go buy it. So, like Jin is saying, if he's an indie dev and people are word of mouth saying, hey, this game's amazing, maybe they're going to go out and actually buy a copy rather than, getting it from Pirate Bay or another torrent site. So it's going to be good word of mouth just for him for advertising.
Yeah. Although I think what Jen wanted to read into was he knows what it's like to be broke. Translation: I have done this. Guess what? I stole some Saturn games. I'm playing an emulator right now.
Or, like he's saying now, guilt tripping the pirates that are taking it, that's a good reverse psychology thing at the same time.
You pirates, all of you, bad. Well, no, I wouldn't say all of you, because when you stop and think about it, because sometimes people who do things with games, never mind. My train decided to go.
I think I know. I think I know what you're getting at. Kind of like the whole Napster reason. It was actually given when they took Napster down, and they found out this was true, that people who were actually pirating music, if the song was really good, they would actually go out and buy the CD.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
It might also be helping because he knows that if something is really good, they will want to support it, and some of these people will actually go out and buy the game, buy an actual physical copy of the game. And also, if it comes out on multiple platforms, they might buy it on multiple platforms. So it could work out well for him.
I was going to say, speaking of the multiple platforms things with like indie developers doing stuff, I have Minecraft on 3 devices because I have the mobile version for my phone. I have the computer version, which is the one that I bought first. And then I also have it on the Xbox. Just because anytime I dealt with people from Mojang, like, they were awesome and wonderful. And I love that game so much. I have it on all 3 things.
I play the demo.
Speaking of just owning games on almost every console or thing you can have it on, I'm pretty sure I've made mention of this beforehand. At least in this podcast. I don't know if everybody else knows it. I own Final Fantasy 6 or 3 on the SNES, emulator, Game Boy Advance, and PS1. And Wii Virtual Console.
Nice.
I have Chrono Trigger for the D. I have it on DS. I have it on Virtual Console. Can't find an SNES version, so there goes that. Shining Force, I have. Not only I got the emulate. The only reason I have an emulated version in the first place was because the only way I could record on my computer. Because I actually before then actually had a legal PC version that was part of Sega Smash Pack 2. I also have it on Virtual Console, and I have the remake that was released for the Game Boy Advance.
Nice. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic with controversial new Kinect patent. Would allow for development of software that would stop a game or movie from playing if the Kinect detected too many people watching. Could this lead to a way of stopping people from lending their game to friends? No. Or
what?
Maybe.
What the crap, Microsoft?
my thing with that is if you're going to make a patent like that, first of all, gamers out there that have a Kinect, unplug your damn Kinect before you start playing if you're not going to use the Kinect specifically. Just take it out. The other thing is with that patent is what if you just have a LAN party and you have a bunch of people over? Like, what's that going to do for things like that?
Especially for the people who are playing like that Dance Central 3 and have those other people in the background. Yeah,
And then you
feedback from me. Dang it!
And I'm going to wait until the feedback stops trying to eat my children. I guess what just worries me is sometimes, yeah, you have the huge parties, maybe not LAN parties, but I've been at huge whatnots where you'll have only 4 people playing a game like Halo or something, and a whole bunch of other people watching. So you're saying that you want people to stop watching people play the game. You want to basically stop any free publicity you get out of it, and it's stopping people watching movies. What the crap? I don't know how this is supposed to stop people from lending their games because this is just detecting somebody in front of the same television set. You're basically stopping people from playing your games.
You're stopping people. You're also stopping people from wanting to play multiplayer games. Because, okay, you can have 4 people on one Xbox at any time. So if you're playing 4 people, like local multiplayer for Halo for the campaign, or playing it just actual online multiplayer, what are you supposed to be able to do when it comes to that? Like, if it's going to stop you from playing the game because you have 4 people sitting there actually playing it just in one location, come on.
You know what I really think about this? If Microsoft does it, they have officially signed their death warrant. They're done. They will go the way of Sega in the console market because gamers will get tired of this. They will basically leave. They will hear about this, especially with Microsoft trying to make Kinect almost mandatory, which they're probably going to do somehow with the next system where it ships with Kinect, or you have to have Kinect. They do this, gamers will leave. They'll say, screw this. They won't buy the next console, and they will go to their competitors.
Yeah, it's like I've already been on the verge because I admit I stay with Xbox because I like the multiplayer with Xbox more than I have on any other console. I also think that it's safer because that, even though you have to pay for Xbox Live Gold in order to play multiplayer, that's $60 a year. That $60 a year pays for them to update their servers, which they do. I worked for their customer service at one point. I understand how that works, so I see it from a different perspective. Most people are like, well, if Sony does it for free. Well, Sony's also been hacked. I know Microsoft has had its own breach of security issues, but from what I've seen, Sony has had more that I have read about. But I'm ready to switch over to a PlayStation if Microsoft does something like this and they don't get their crap together. Because I would rather have free online multiplayer and everything, even if it means giving up Gears of War and Halo, which you can only get on the Xbox. I love both of those series, but I will give them up if it means that I don't have to worry about having too many people in the frickin' room for me to be able to play a game.
No, this also may come as something as well because, we've seen things in the past be quote-unquote patented, like the Nintendo Saddle Horse thing. I remember seeing that as a patent back in about 2008, I want to believe. Right when the Wii just recently, about 2 years after the Wii came out. And it's like they just patented this little saddle horse looking like thing. And maybe it just probably just have the quote-unquote patent so that way people can't be like, oh, well, I'm going to use this idea and just kind of stock it away. Also, with their little finger sensor thing, the Wii sensor, whatever. That was
vitality sensor?
Yeah, the vitality sensor. Yes, thank you, Balba. That was patented and was supposed to come out as an actual thing.
I think it actually did come out.
No.
Didn't it? I thought it did.
No. It was shown and it was pretty much laughed and mocked. So it kind of went under the rug. Moving on, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 offering live streaming in a market where companies are trying to cut down on the idea. To be perfectly honest, a game like Call of Duty Black Ops offering live streaming, a lot of people really need to jump on this idea. Cough, cough, epic, cough, cough.
Okay, can I do one thing for Call of Duty real quick? Congratulations, you actually figured out that you can have free advertising.
Duh.
Yeah, it's if Epic would jump on that for Judgment when it comes out, or any of their other games to incorporate a assistance type thing when it comes to doing live streaming, there'd be so many people to be all over that. It'd be nuts.
We've been calling and kind of sort of pitching a bitch for it for how many? Well, actually, since 3 dropped, we've been calling and bitching for an update for at least to get this feature in. Granted, we've got, 4 months till 4 to 6 months before Judgment comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the math to do the actual window right.
It's about 6 months because it's going to be late March, early April, I think.
Okay, we've got that. So maybe with Call of Duty kind of sort of leading the charge a little bit, so to speak. Maybe they can see how it goes and then see what happens. I mean, granted, nobody's probably going to watch it because I'm pretty sure. I've tried to watch Call of Duty and it's boring as shit to watch.
So, there are people who watch it, though.
I was going to say, it with Call of Duty, it really depends on the person who's casting for me if I can watch it. Because I don't play Call of Duty, but I'll watch it if someone's entertaining. The whole thing with streaming and casting and live doing stuff like that, you have to be entertaining. If you're just going to sit there and like zone out at the TV, not talk, not have any reaction to things that happen, then it's like you're just boring. I don't want to watch you if you're just going to sit there and be like, yeah, oh, I died. Okay. Oh, look, I got a headshot. No, I want to be like, oh man, I can't believe that happened. Like, I want people yelling, screaming, being interactive with people that are in their stream. Because otherwise, it's like, what am I doing here? Like, this is boring.
Crack some jokes.
Exactly.
One of my favorite streamers / casters of all time would have to be Marcus DJ Wheat Graham. Love the guy. Okay. Hit. He just... no, scrap. Skipped one. Space 3 co-op may be better than believed. The character who isn't Isaac Clarke is going insane and will be seeing things that his partner isn't.
Eddie, I would like to sell you a segue for the next time that happens.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. gotta love the dead silence sometimes.
Awkward silence in 3, 2, 1, go.
He switches from DJ Weed, I love that guy. There's this long silence. Dead Space 3. It's like, yeah, that's not going to work.
As for Dead Space 3, like, I didn't play any of the co-op stuff in 2, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. But if it's anything like Fear 3, you had a ghost type character for the second player, and he could possess other people to use them to do certain things, plus he had his own individual abilities as well. So, but you'd see things on his screen if you weren't together that the other person wouldn't see, so it could be something that's similar. So it could be a really interesting thing, because everyone that I've talked to that's played Fear 3, that played co-op, really liked that actual conflicting thing where some people would get different information. So you actually had to work together in order for things to work out in the end.
Yeah, and I also kind of disagree with our fearful leader who's not here at the moment. I actually think that it is possible for co-op and a survival horror game to be scary. It takes work, but I think it is possible. And doing something like this is one way to do it. Another way is you're going to have to is finding ways to separate them, and keeping the tension high. So yeah, I think this is one way that there could be evidence that the Dead Space 3 co-op actually might be scary.
just repeated my opinion on the matter as a counter argument.
You realize that next week when you guys do this, he's just going to come back at you guys, insulting you all over the place.
That's if he's able to even come back, because he might be down for the count all winter.
He might be pressing the kill minion button multiple times.
Like he's already freaking prepping it. It's like, come on, why isn't this working? T minus and counting. Son of a, why is it not working?
As long as I'm not linked up to the kill minion button yet, I'm good. You can keep mashing it.
Well, he's also cloning his minions, you know. That's okay. The original version of me is out trying to kill himself by drink and not succeeding at the moment.
There's enough poison to kill a rhinoceros. Really?
Well, that's thinking outside of the box. Speaking of thinking outside of the box, Hitman...
Congratulations, Eddie. It's nice to know that you bought my Segway.
Yes. I didn't buy from very much, though. Devs found that if someone in-game told players they couldn't do something, i.e. climb a ledge, they wouldn't even attempt it. Has gaming done this to you? Either of you?
I'm kind of the stupid one where someone's like, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, really? Jump?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Most gamers, you tell them they can't do something, they're going to try to do it. Who did they have testing their game? Obviously not very creative people.
I want to say that what Jin is saying in the chat, being the people who probably played it, the people who have, you know, let's bring in all these people. All of you play nothing but Call of Duty. Fine, let's see if we can brainwash you. But I agree with Jin when it comes to any game, not just like with just Hitman here. If you tell someone not to do something, I'm going to counteract it and just go for it anyway.
I was going to say, because I remember in Halo Reach. Now, I know everyone hates that game, but I played it because I liked the story. So,
yeah, I like it too.
Don't judge. Don't judge. Everyone's like, oh, you can't save them when they die. Like, everyone told me that the entire team was going to die. So I knew that going into it. And in case anyone is living in a cave and hasn't played Reach, sorry, I still tried to dive in front of people when they were about to take headshots, knowing that would be the end of them, to try to save them. I would still try, even though I knew it was impossible because it was a scripted event. Because I'm like, no!
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remember. I'm sure there's been a moment where they said you can't do this, and I did it anyway, but I can't remember one right off the top of my head.
Like you can't glitch in Borderlands to get into the secret armory without triggering the countdown. Yeah, you totally can't do that. Did it like 10 times.
I'm more along the lines of like whenever my DM tells me you can't do that, watch me.
Yeah, I've done that too, and I usually get eaten by something. My DMs were creative. They'd be like, oh, you're not going to listen to me? And this comes out of nowhere and kills you.
Well, you know. Splinter Cell Blacklist director believes triple A's are not the future. Did you just seriously say that, dude? I mean, granting the fact that I took a look at the sales for this month, NBA 2K13 was the top selling game for October. Granting, I know that Assassin's Creed only came out at the end of the month, so they haven't had really time to calculate it, and they're going to have to go into November to actually calculate it. You're going to see that game, either that game or Halo or Call of Duty at number 1, with the other games I just mentioned, numbers 2, 3, and potentially 4 or low. A game like Dishonored, you're gonna... Go ahead.
I think what they're talking about future is like next year. So maybe the beginning release titles, which that may not even be big enough, but further out. Like, I'm not sure if you guys heard this or have talked about this yet, but someone had information leaked from Activision. There is a Modern Warfare 4 coming out.
You gotta be.
Yes, there was information leaked. Modern Warfare 4 is going to be coming out next holiday season, so right before Black Friday. I mean, how many times can you beat a dead horse and it still be entertaining?
Plenty of time.
Activision tends to do that. I guess I agree and I disagree. Triple A's, as we know them, the big those big games. There's always going to be people. There will always be those big games that people buy, those triple A titles. But I think why he's saying that, and we've even talked about before, is all of these triple A titles at the exact same time. These companies cannot sustain that because they are spending too much money. They're spending too much more money than they can make off of these triple A titles because they're putting too many triple A titles out at the same time. You know, a few AAA titles are good, but not where everything you're putting out is a AAA title. You can't work like that.
Yeah, my thing is everyone wants to release everything right before the Christmas season. Yeah, I understand Black Fridays and sales, but here's the thing. If you do that, some people are going to be like, I have to choose one or the other because I don't have the money. Like, I had to choose between do I want Assassin's Creed or do I want Halo 4? Like, I don't have the ability to get both. So I had to choose. And I got Assassin's Creed because I'm a history nut and I love that series. Halo 4, I know I can wait with. But Assassin's Creed, I know people will spoil the shit out of that game for me before I get to it. Halo 4, we know Master Chief is going to be a badass, save the world, the end. If there's actually a change at the ending for once, I will be surprised.
Please, no spoiling Assassin's Creed for me.
I won't. I'm being nice.
It's one of those, I'm getting into it now.
Please, not me either, because I have, it's going to be a while, so never mind.
I will beat you, Jin.
I will openly and willingly nerd out with you guys once you catch up to where I am. I'm in the middle of, I think, Sequence 9, about to end it, and sadly, the next time I'm going to get to play it is like Wednesday, and if any of my people at work ruin that game for me, someone's not going to be, having balls when they leave work.
Somebody's not having that exactly leaving work. But I do have to agree that with having to choose between games, I've had to choose the same thing between Assassin's Creed 3 and Halo 4. I decided to go with the biggest edition of Assassin's Creed 3 I could get.
I'll buy that flag off you, by the way.
Yeah. Here's what I think the future of gaming is a variety of different titles and studio. But it has to happen unless they want the entire market to just crash.
It's the thing, if they actually spread out the titles and work together, it would actually, have. I mean, these guys meet up at like PAX. They meet up at Penny Arcade. Now that Rooster Teeth has RTX in July, there's multiple events that they meet up with. Why not walk over to the booth and go, hey, maybe next time we come out with a game, we should work together and not have them landing at the same time. So we all equally get a shit ton of money because everyone's going to want to buy our game. If we release them at least a month apart, then by then people will have recouped the costs or beaten one game and decide to turn it in to go towards another.
And not just focus on, because all they're doing is focusing solely on AAA titles, is focus on, you can make titles with smaller teams and for less amount of money, and it still be good. The indie scene has shown us that. So, release some of those games for a budget price. Because when all you're releasing is AAA titles and everything you're releasing is $60, having some budget titles that are good is a good idea. Your consumers will buy it up.
Exactly. It's the whole thing that if you spread those out, because let's see, we always have stuff come out right after the first of the year because hey, people have Christmas money and things like that, and kids are going to be like, hey, I really want this. And then we have the stuff right before Christmas. Hey, mom and dad, I want this for Christmas. What about during the summer? Summer break is a huge thing for kids because you know that a lot of these games they're trying to market them towards children because they're going to have a ton of time, and most kids if they put on the big old puppy dog eyes to mom and dad and be like, please, can I really get it, mom, of course they're going to say yes. I see it happen day-to-day basis at work. And if they actually release stuff, between May and beginning of September, they'd make bank off of kids, especially if they're doing DLCs on top of it during that time for the game. So, like, if a game releases in May and a DLC gets released in, like, late June, early July, the kids are going to keep buying them because they're on break. They have nothing else to do.
But Marky, people need to get out and play more. Kids ain't be healthy, be fit.
I think we're being haunted.
Yeah, I think we're being haunted. Well, here's the thing with that. Getting out and playing more, that's lays on the parents' shoulders, really. If they're going to buy their kids games, they have to take the responsibility of, hey, you've been playing for 6 hours. I think it's time for me to take the power cord and kick your butt outside, and you go out and ride a bike or a skateboard or swim or something.
But then again, I guess it's just me, but I see kids out where I am out playing out a lot more. I think sometimes this is stretched out way out of proportion. I think that that kids are balancing their times. A lot of them are playing out as well as playing video games.
Oh yeah, I did that all the time. Like, I'd do my homework once I got home from school. I'd maybe play an hour or two of video games. I'd go hang out with friends, go do stuff, and then once it got too cold or too dark to do stuff outside, I'd come back home and play more video games.
Yeah, I found that even now I do most of my gaming in the evening.
I can't really do any more gaming like this weekend. I'm doing a lot of catch-up work with my gaming because it's just like I finally have some downtime from college, and it's just like, okay, catch-up time. And it's just, I'm backlogged on titles. I'm backlogged with Dishonored and Pokemon Black 2. So it's just... But I did mention a handheld in that manner. The Guitar Hero co-creator thinks mobile will replace consoles. As smartphones and other devices get more powerful, this might be the case. Imagine plugging your PS Vita or 3DS into the TV and using it as a controller to play on a big screen.
Eddie, you're supposed to warn me when Idiot Corner is coming up.
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
You mean this is an Idiot Corner?
No, it's not. Not in my script, it's not.
Oh, great. You broke the fourth wall. Congratulations. We're scripted! See, there's my line right there.
I don't have a script. We had a script? Oh, crap.
Jen is pushing the minion button going, damn it!
Okay, so here's the thing. We discussed this a little bit before we actually started all this with the handhelds, talking about mobile devices. I mentioned this. I have an iPhone. There's that, okay, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that stupid Curiosity game where everyone's trying to break down this cube to find out what's inside of it. I have been playing that like nonstop for the past 3 days for God knows what reason. And after like 15 to 20 minutes, my iPhone, because it's in a case, because I drop it all the time and I'm afraid of breaking it, so it's in like a super protective case, the back heats up. And if I didn't have it in a case, it would probably overheat and actually like be painful to hold because it can't take being used that much. Even if I turn down the brightness, it only gives me maybe 5 to 10 more minutes of it not being hot before it overheats. Now, that's just talking about mobiles. Like handhelds, I could see it happening because the PS Vita is a really good handheld system. It doesn't have all the best games on it right now, except for I really want Assassin's Creed Liberation on it really bad, and the Uncharted games. But, there's some things that this is okay. I can see it heading in that direction because the PS Vita is great. I don't care what anyone says. I really like it. The DS is a really great system as well. Like, it has some great games on it. And I can see it going that way. But going back to the whole thing with Microsoft's patent, if the Xbox goes out, then you already have two strong handheld markets that could easily take over. And if mobile devices keep advancing the way that they are, maybe they'll improve in a way that they could become a really good handheld type gaming device later on.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with here, where you basically have kind of like what they were flirting with the PSP and PlayStation 3 interaction. Basically, have it where okay, our traditional you don't have your traditional console, but what you have is you have like a handheld, and then you could sync it somehow. You have something that would connect to the TV, and you can sync it with the TV, and then use it as either use it as to connect to the system on the TV somehow, and then use another controller, or use that as a controller to play games, and then kind of like how the Wii U is going to be. You know, if somebody else wants to watch TV, you can keep on playing it via the handheld, or you can walk off and you can walk off and play it away from the television. Okay, I can see that, but the way it was phrased, mobile, as far as we're thinking mobile phones, I don't see it.
I'm seeing it as both like mobile phones as well as mobile devices because, yeah, you occasionally have to plug in a Vita and stuff to charge it. Same thing with the phone, though. But future devices could easily go that way. I mean, if you guys have seen the new Wii U, you're able to walk around the house and use that gamepad to be able to play it. So it's going the way of kind of being mobile. It's semi-mobile.
iPhone 10 and PSP 36. And I like the whole mobile thing with the Wii U, because now it's like, if I have to get up and I have to go take a poop somewhere, I can at least take the dang on thing with me in the bathroom.
I really don't want to think about that.
Too much information, man. Too much information.
Gutter, let's go even further into the gutter. Lollipop Chainsaw got its own cosplay porno. Yay, Japan.
How did you go from taking a crap to porn?
I told you.
No one connects those two. No.
Okay,
some people connect those two, but you don't want to know who they are.
I was going to say, this is Japan, and God only knows what you see in that porno. I haven't seen it yet. So...
Again, we're going into the gutter. Let's just take it even further.
Well, technically, you could go that poop does go into a gutter eventually. So,
yep. So everybody who had started off talking about Lara Croft and we're all getting ready, all of a sudden they've just gone flaccid because we just talked about poop porn.
Great. This is gonna be the shittiest I've ever heard.
Okay. Trying to get back to trying to be semi-serious about a Lollipop Chainsaw porn. I don't know how serious you can be about that.
I don't think it's possible.
I'm sorry. I'd be more excited if you actually had like a porn with some of the best cosplayers out there that are, actually playing the characters they cosplayed, because there are some really, really hot versions of cosplay characters out there of both female and male that I would love to actually see, in that type of a situation. Just saying. And I've probably blown the minds of every guy here because they're like, oh God, girl talking about porn. What do I do?
Well, there goes the flaccidness.
And out the window she go, or out the window we go. Jen, I agree. Anyway, it is now time for Bubba's favorite segment, the Idiot Corner.
Do.
Who gets the dunce cap?
Author of the Witcher books believes that games could never tell meaningful story the way a book can. Also believes his books are the reason for games' popularity and not the other way around. Pop quiz. Anyone know the Witcher books before the games came out.
There are books?
I was gonna say there were books. I didn't know that there were books. It's just like, okay, so I knew about the Game of Thrones series before the actual TV show happened. But that's because a friend told me about them because she was obsessed with them. That's otherwise I wouldn't have known. Like I knew there was a TV series coming out. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't know that there was Witcher books. Like, okay.
And for anybody who still thinks this way, all I have to say is the entire RPG genre will prove you wrong. Especially the
Agreed.
really good ones.
Agreed.
Unless you're Mass Effect 3, of course. Then you'll just say screw it and tear your own book up. Towards the end, like, you go to flip the page, it tears itself apart and sets itself on fire afterwards.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about games that had good storylines, that actually told a good story, in my opinion, hold on. Let me open up this wonderful drawer of video games that I have here. Okay,
Chrono
Bioshock and Bioshock 2. I'm talking about current games. Chrono Trigger was fantastic as well. Bioshock and Bioshock 2 had fantastic storylines. I loved both of them because I really got connected to the main characters. And that made the game for me. Eternal Sonata was one of the first games I played, and I played it because I loved the music of it. But then the story for a game that looks like a children's game goes surprisingly deep and gets very adult-ish when you get further into it. And I loved that story. The Gears of War franchise, as much as everybody doesn't want to think of that as having a good story, I think it had a fantastic story. And, you know, there's tons of them. There's tons of them that have fantastic stories. So
Assassin's
people are like,
Creed 2.
yeah, Assassin's Creed 2. I'd say the entire Assassin's Creed franchise, because Assassin's Creed 3, without saying any spoilers, will blow your mind at points. Like, you're like, where did that come from?
I know! I was playing it this morning, and at the end of Sequence 3, that was
I
like,
know,
wait,
right?
what? I
And
got...
so it's just like, what? Yeah, there are games out there that have fantastic stories, absolutely fantastic stories, and people don't give enough credit to them.
I have to say, I kind of agree with that as well, because, like, you mentioned Gears of War series. We both know this is one of those things where it's close to both of our hearts, because we do writings for freaking G-Con, for goodness sake. Not only
I don't even
that,
do writing anymore. I do all the editing. Are you kidding me?
I know, well,
I don't get to have any of the fun anymore.
that's no fun. It's like, we haven't really done anything recently, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
The story. There were 2 times in this entire series. And I normally don't, because I'm a strong enough man to admit when I weep. But I'm also a strong enough man to where I don't weep easy. I wept twice with this series. Once with Carlos, the next with Dom. Those
Okay.
are the 2 times I freaking cried while being integrated into this series.
I didn't cry with Carlos. I'll admit to that, even if that makes me a total asshole. I cried with the interaction with Maria in 2, like just full on bawled about that. And then I cried with Dom, like, because Dom was my man. I love Dom. And then I was like, oh.
I had it ruined for me because of people on the dang forums, and I had to go searching for it on YouTube like a week beforehand, so I wasn't playing it and crying with my friend here. But, and then, of course, you have, I'm pretty sure everybody has at some point wept with Eris in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII.
I haven't played the game, sorry. I'm not a Final Fantasy fan. You know that, Eddie.
I know, and it's just like, I feel so bad for you, my good sir. I also got a little bit choked up at the aria. I had to say it was the opera house scene in Final Fantasy VI with Cels playing Maria, and it's like, such a good scene. But that is for another time in another place. Because that
Yes,
is all for the week.
Because we still have that. We still have part 2 of the RPG podcast.
Yes, we do, and it's just like we also have other stuff to discuss. But that's all for this week. Tune in next week. Jin's pushing the button to go kill these bastards.
Ow! 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 Ow!
I'm just drinking apple cider over here. I don't know what your guys' problems are.